right, boys and girls. As of starting this live stream, we don't actually have official word on Aaron Rodgers, but I called out of work today. Figure there's probably some of you guys that are feeling a similar sort of way and figure misery loves company and kind of talk it out a little bit. Figure out what's going on, how we're feeling today. Some eerie similarities between today and 1999 when Vinny went down. What does the future look like for Aaron Rodgers? Was that the last time we see him suit up? How does Zach perform? Are the Jets going to go out and get another quarterback? I mean, seemingly you have to get a backup. I don't think Boyle is the guy you want to turn to in the event Zach really, starts to stink it up or anything like that. You got to think Carson Wentz is on the short list. He's the most talented of the quarterbacks that's out there right now. I don't particularly like Carson Wentz, as an option, but the guy was in the MVP conversation not all that long ago. Damn. This sucks. This really, really sucks. So we're going to go through just comments and we'll talk it out, see how we're all kind of feeling here. Juice says, rain before the game had to be a factor with the new turf. You know what was kind of irritating? They had the Giant game the day before, so they had to repaint the lines or maybe not repaint the lines, but at least repaint the logo and the end zones. And the paint was coming off the field prior to the game, to warm-ups. You could see all the footprints all over the place. So it was I don't know why you would plan a primetime game and then have that kind of less than 24 hours in a rainstorm with the paint coming up. I don't know. They got to go to grass. This shit's stupid. They should have went to grass years ago. Matthew says Zach Wilson is inevitable. Yeah, right. That snap. EP Jets says it's just unfucking real. Although I guess better to happen now and not week 17. Imagine if we were 11-4 and this shit happens. Yeah, that's sort of. That's the only thing I can take away from this is happening now. You don't give up the first round pick. And then, there's not even really a second, it's just maybe, Rodgers could be healthy for the beginning of next year. That's the silver lining, I guess, if he wants to play. I just don't know how much a 40-year-old quarterback's going to want to come back from an Achilles. That's one of the toughest injuries. When I saw that and I heard the rumors of Achilles while we were sitting in the stadium, I was like, this could very much be a career ender for A-Rod. I've seen this. Dykeritz. He says, sign Brady. I won't sell my soul for that. I don't want Brady. Superb. Thank you for the super chat. Says, following Favre's energy after tension wasn't meant. I'm not sure I know what that means. Yeah, it just sucks. It blows. Garbage Time Football says Phillip Rivers. Nah, I can't imagine. I think Matt Ryan is a possibility, I guess. I guess he ran some sort of similar offense in some capacity. M. Fritz says, can Wentz, Minshew, or Heineke make it happen? I think Wentz is a free agent. Isn't Minshew on a team already? Isn't he on the Colts? I wouldn't mind Minshew. I do like Minshew. Steven Torres says, go get Kyler Murray or Sam Darnold. Dude, could you imagine if Sam Darnold came back? That'd be a fucking twist. I can't see any way they trade for a young quarterback right now. This feels like an after the season type move, unfortunately. Unless Zach goes down with an injury. God, I would love to see Sammy Boy back. I really do I like Sam. but I think we're riding with Zach. Kyler Murray's an interesting one. I do not like Kyler. Like, of all the quarterbacks that I know he's getting traded in the offseason, and the Jets seemingly are going to win too many games to be in competition for like the top level quarterbacks in the event, like, maybe Zach isn't the guy. Holy hell. I don't like how I don't like how Kyler, you had to put in that clause like, oh, we don't trust you to study enough. So we're going to give you $175 million fully guaranteed or something crazy, and you have to study. I don't know. I don't like Kyler as an option, honestly. I understand the thought, though, and maybe I'll come around to it at some point, but I don't look like it. I don't like it. Drift Bozier says, what are your expectations for Zach? So I'll be honest, it definitely looked like they were hiding Zach, and I think that was in part by design because Rodgers got all the first team reps. Like, clearly Rodgers didn't play through the preseason. He played 2 drives. That's it. He got all the first team reps going into that game. So it's not like Zach was well prepared to execute the game plan. And at that point, you're just like, okay, let's just run and get out of here. Let's see what we can do. Let's get through this game. We've got now 5 days to prepare for Dallas. And now Hackett can develop a system around Zach. Zach's been working through the system. I would love to see some RPOs. I'll be honest. I think Zach is at his best when he can make a quick read, a fast decision, if he can, like, key in and use his athleticism too. Like, the fuck do we got to lose? Let it rip. Right? Like, lean on your running backs. Let's go fucking Wildcat. Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook all day. But expectations for Zach, he didn't look terrible. He had the interception. I don't know how to get an accurate grade on him or an accurate assessment on him being thrown in the way he was. Like, that was difficult stuff to have to overcome. And talk about a team friggin' win. Defense out of their mind, 5 sacks, 3 interceptions, a fumble. Kick return touchdown. Gibson. I've been to a lot of games. I was at the Monday Night Miracle. I was at the game that got the Jets into the playoffs in 2002, where we beat the Packers against when we needed the Patriots to win against the Dolphins, and the fans found out mid game. Like, I've been at those games. I've been at some really good fucking games. That was like a roller coaster. I mean, a horrible, horrible feeling, but oh my God, what an amazing game to go to. I'm sick. I feel like that's the only way. Superb hops back in and says, Gods didn't want Favre or Rodgers both as Jets. Yeah, Jets were 8-3 with Favre, and then he tore his labrum, I think is what it was. Jets were the best team in the NFL. And honestly, the way the Jets played, if Rodgers was like average, like, that's kind of the nice thing with Zach, is like, you're not even hoping Zach hits MVP caliber level. You're hoping for, like, baseline average quarterback play from Zach, and you're going to be a pretty rock solid team. Man, dude, the football gods, they don't like us. Michael, celebrating 6 months of membership, says maybe Aaron Rodgers could stay at the sidelines and help Zach, but not the same. Yeah, he's going to be the most expensive quarterback coach in the league right now. That's what it ends up being. And who knows, maybe that's what Zach needs. Maybe it's the cerebral side of Rodgers and what he could do that could help Zach. I'm ride or die Zach. I'm on board. I mean, I want to bring in a backup quarterback because I don't want to go down to Boyle if we have to. I'd rather go to a Carson Wentz or something along those lines. I think it's Wentz for this year and Wilson. Off chance, maybe a Foles. Someone was telling me that. I don't want to see Joe Flacco. Like, under no circumstances do I want to see Joe Flacco. UCF Jaguar, what's up, dude? He says, it's scary how similar this year is to last. I think Jets can start off hot, but there's only so far you can go without a great quarterback in this league. Can't imagine what y'all are going through. Dude, it's a gut punch. I mean, you're talking the best quarterback of all time wants to come to the Jets. Best quarterback that would have been, for all time for the Jets, wants to come to the Jets. One of the best of all time to ever play the game in Rodgers, and they were so loaded. Like, this team is so fucking good to like just need baseline quarterback play. Like, we probably win the division last year with like, I don't know, like I said, average quarterback play. God, this sucks. This really sucks. RP Eagles says, speedy recovery for the future Hall of Famer. As much as this sucks, Rodgers can still hopefully help Coach Zach during the season. Thoughts? Yeah, I feel like that's what you got to just turn your attention to. You put all your chips in the Zach basket at this point. From like he's been with us all season. I would say get Wentz in here to start learning the playbook and just say like, hey, look, God forbid something happens with Zach. Zach's been hurt when he's played. Like it has happened. So you're going to need a backup in some capacity just because Zach holds the ball a little too long. He's going to take more shots than he should. And, you know, he does run a bit. So you wind up hurting yourself on that sort of stuff. Yeah. I mean, it was such a weird play because that's definitely, it's partially the weird fucking way we decided to have Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton block on 2 consecutive plays, just going for the legs. And the ball's supposed to get out quick. That's supposed to be a slant play. And I don't know who the receiver was on the left-hand side, was open. Rodgers had to throw the ball. He didn't throw the ball. He held on to it. And I don't know why. That was a horrible decision. So it ends up being Rodgers. I would say mostly on Rodgers. It's the turf. It's Rodgers. It's some funky blocking. And just bad fucking luck. Man, dude, this is, I don't know. Ed comes in. What's up, Ed? He says, is the Namath curse actually real? It sure as hell feels like it. Like, I love me Joe Willie, but man, that curse feels real. Bucks Nation. So sorry, brother. This is so much pain. Dude, great YouTuber, Bucks YouTuber. Head down there, subscribe to him. But dude, I'm fucking distraught. Like, I've been covering a bad team for 5 years, and this was like the light at the end of the tunnel. And when he said he'd play 2-3 years, like this could very well be a career ender. And like to say like, not even just from like a Jet fanhood, but like I hope this could be like a sustainable thing, like the YouTube side of things. And to see this happen, just, it hits a few more ways than one. It sucks. It really sucks. Michael says, agreed. We do need a veteran, but not Flacco. Yeah, I don't want to see Joe Flacco take snaps for the Jets. Carson Wentz. If you get Gardner Minshew, I really like Gardner. Gardner Minshew's a fun quarterback to watch. And his stats are like legitimate too. Like if he can give us baseline quarterback play. Was displaced by Trevor Lawrence, an all-time, prospect coming out of college. Then got displaced by an MVP caliber Jalen Hurts. And then I'm pretty sure he's in Indianapolis and they just happened to draft a quarterback with like insane stats and metrics. Not stats, insane athletic ability. Minshew's a fun one. I'd be good with Minshew. I would honestly probably prefer Minshew over Wentz. I think Wentz's attitude always gets to me. Minshew's just like a fucking guy. He's like Barstool Sports in the form of a quarterback. Mike E says, thinking about day drinking today, probably just sit at the park for an hour or so to soak up the reality now. Size. Dude, I was supposed to go into work today, and I texted my superior, and I was like, yo, you know me. Like, if there's any way you don't need me today, I very much don't want to be there right now. Like, I'm not going to focus on anything today. I'm fucking distraught. I'm crushed. This is not fun. So, Mike, I'm here with you, and 420 other people in the chat are feeling exactly the same way. UCF Jaguar says, honestly asking, what was worse, this win or a win against the Rams in 2020? The win against the Rams. That hurt. Like, this sucks because this was real. Like, Trevor Lawrence was a prospect. We didn't know what he was really going to be, but, like, I was distraught. This is the worst I have felt since that punt return and the Jets beating the Rams and Braden Mann tackling the punt returner. That's where I'm at. But it was one of those situations where, like, this was Like, this was Super Bowl. This was it. That, like, we were going to get a ring with Rodgers while he was here. And now I don't know if we're ever going to see him take another snap. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. Candle Jack says, how are you feeling about the O-line? Look, I feel like the O-line was going to take some time to gel. Ground and pound wise, holy hell. Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook. We should be throwing screen passes to those guys like on a consistent basis. Neutralize any pass rush. They're going to stack the box against Dak. They're going to make him try to throw the ball. Everyone, not just like, what Buffalo was trying to do. Like, it's going to be everyone. And the offensive line is going to go through a pressure cooker right now. And it can't be overstated just how critical those offensive line positions are going to be, because you don't have a quarterback that's getting the ball out of his hands in 2 seconds. You have a quarterback now who has notoriously been holding onto the ball a little bit longer. Now, in the preseason, he has been able to get the ball out faster. They kind of, I'm pretty sure the Jets were like the fastest snap to throw team in the NFL. I'm pretty sure I saw that stat somewhere. It was like 2.3 seconds from snap to throw. So if Zach can do that and lean on his running backs and lean on his tight ends, I do think Hackett's going to develop a better game plan. I like the confidence that Zach has. Like him changing that play at the line of scrimmage for the Garrett touchdown. It's supposed to be a run. Hackett, okay, yeah, let's just hand it off. And Zach's like, I got one-on-one coverage with Garrett. I'm going to him. It wasn't like a great throw. I mean, he put it in position for Garrett to be able to make a play, but Garrett made a fucking play. O-line wise, I don't know. We're gonna have to lean on our running backs. We were doing well, like, doing the running game thing and defense last year with Zach. Just hope that Zach is better. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Zachary comes in and says, so many positives from the game, which makes it hurt so much more. Yep. You look at that team that went out there yesterday, and we have one of the best special teams units in the league. Zerline's a great kicker. Really friggin' good. Gibson returns a kick for a touchdown. You have arguably the best defense in the league. It's got to be up there. Wide receivers, running backs, like literally cornerback. Fucking everything's loaded. Everything's loaded. And then you got Zach back there again. I want to be optimistic for Zach. I've liked what I've seen so far, like in preseason. King Jet, do you think Hack can scheme Zach into an average quarterback with a team around Zach and Rodgers in his ear? I do think so. I think we can get to average level quarterback play. I think that is realistically something that could happen. And Zach's got all the tools to make it happen. And I want to believe Mike LaFleur was a huge issue. Not having Breece, not having ABT, not having Becton. Like the offensive lines the last few years have been a serious issue. And Zach's definitely had his problems. But I think he had like an 81.5 QBR last night. Is that accurate? Someone said that in one of the forums, and I did not fact check it. But actually had a pretty decent game. Bumtaz comes in, says, only thing worse than Aaron Rodgers going down is people still thinking Wilson is capable of anything. He threw an interception that Garrett Wilson turned into a touchdown. Even before the trade, thought our O-line will ruin best laid plans. Yeah, the offensive line was always going to be the weak spot. Not getting Orlando Brown, even though we offered him more money than Cincinnati, that sucks. Obviously not getting any offensive tackles in the draft, that sucks. I don't know how you fix it. Like you just our solution to the offensive line was to pass the ball and run the ball and keep pass rushers off balance. That was the plan because we didn't have the studs needed. The Jets are going to have to convince Bakhtiari when he gets cut from Green Bay this offseason to come to New York, be left tackle, and get Rodgers to play. I don't think Rodgers is going to I don't know if he retires. He could retire. I don't know how his retirement works when he's got so much money coming to him next year. Because the Jets were paying him, I think, $70 million over 2 years. So he's probably got another 50 next year. If he retires, is it fully guaranteed? Or does he just have to be on the active roster? Man, that sucks. Edward Ziff comes in and says, rollout plays and screens. Zach looked evil in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I want to see screens. Zach was able to hit some of these shorter things that he had issues with last year. And if he can kind of keep his feet right, if he can trust his offensive line a little bit, and if he has Rodgers talking in his ear like, hey, look, here's what you're going to see. Keep an eye on Garrett. Keep an eye on Lazard. Whatever play. We heard it in the preseason with the different things. It's like, hey, Brownlee's going to be open. Or, hey, take your shot. If Rodgers has that type of connection, I don't know how many people you're allowed to have in the quarterback's ear. Like, is Rodgers and Hackett, are they both allowed to be right there? Because you almost want to have, like, Hackett and Rodgers both in his ear. I don't know if there's anything against having more than one person talking to you. James says, question now that Aaron Rodgers is done for the season. What's the deal with draft compensation to the Packers? If we now have our number one, can we make an end-of-season deal to draft Caleb Williams? So I think whatever team earns the first overall pick is definitely getting Williams. I don't think they're going to trade out of it unless it's some funky situation where, like, they already have a quarterback, but they got hurt or something silly. I do think if I were the Jets, I would do the 49ers route and move heaven and earth to get whatever quarterback you got to get. I think that's a conversation you can definitely have. Your window is while Sauce, Brees, Garrett, JJ, AVT, all these guys are on the rookie contracts. It's right now. Which I guess the argument would be go for a big-time quarterback that's already established. But we have the talent on the team, so I'm not afraid of losing future picks. Like, the Jets are giving up the second-round pick. We are going to have a first-round pick now because Rodgers is going to miss the season. But I would look tackle, maybe quarterback. I would definitely consider trading all my draft picks to get up and get a quarterback if you find the right one. I think they want to see what's going on with Zach, and I think you bring in someone like Wentz. Then you have at least Zach and Wentz kind of competing with one another, so you might have someone for next year in the event Rodgers can't start the season or he retires. Man, this is so surreal. It's like a storybook, like a movie was written, and like the script's all right there, and then it just fucking falls apart. Pardon my French. Alex says, Aaron goes to Mexico for stem cells and we win the Super Bowl in 2024. Can you imagine if stem cells work that well on Achilles? Do it. Let's make it happen. Isaac says, this almost feels like when we lost Brees and AVT after beating the Broncos, but much worse. Yeah. This is exactly how I felt after that. It's like, wow, we won, but at what cost? You'll always take the victory, but man, if you could swap a loss for our quarterback, I would do that in a heartbeat. George Thomas says, Aaron likely to retire, right? I don't know if we ever see him take another snap. That's the gut punch, because he's talking about being here 3-4 years, maybe even 5 years, 45 years old, and then this sucks. This really sucks. I think there's a really good shot he retires. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's like even more motivated and comes back next year. But that Achilles is so hard to come back from. Card Cave Central says, one thing I do notice, the team doesn't look down with the news. I feel us fans are more down than the players. Yeah, the players are definitely feeling away, for sure. Talk about a powder keg, though. As soon as Rodgers went down, the rest of the team fucking fired into all cylinders. That was a team win. The players are going to try and believe, but you can't tell me you're not sitting at home knowing Aaron Rodgers got knocked out and feeling like you felt the same way prior to kickoff. I mean, before that, you had Super Bowl dreams bouncing around in your head. Do you still have those same things bouncing around with Zach Wilson as your quarterback? I hope they really rally around Zach, and I hope Zach can... Dude, I hope Zach balls out. I fucking hope Zach balls out. I hope Zach's the one that can beat the Patriots for us. Like, I understand if we lose this week. Short week, kind of roller coaster emotion against a division opponent. I want week 3. I want to beat the Patriots in the worst way, and I would love if Zach was able to do it. This team's not going to give up, though. I'll say that. David D says, I'd day drink if I had anything left from last night / this morning. Yeah. I'm going to take, I don't know. I'm going to take my time on this one. This sucks. Abe seems upset with me. He says, Ryan, stop it. We don't know if it's official yet. It's going to be official. This is like one of the easiest injuries to diagnose because you could see the Achilles snap. Like you see his calf jiggle. And my wife says, Aaron already said he's playing more than 1 year, and did anyone think we were going to win the first year? We may not have won it all the first year, but I think Aaron's saying he wants to play more than 1 year and then having this kind of injury is a different thing. Joseph Conklin staying optimistic. Says, you don't see me crying. What the hell? Not like the team fell apart. They played great. They did play great. But we also were able to get 4 turnovers. That's not a winning formula on a consistent basis. Like, we're going to get turnovers, but we're not going to play Josh Allen every week that's going to, like, try to hero ball everything. If you can guarantee me 4 turnovers every game, I'm going to feel a lot more confident. But I am a little sad. Manuel says, our defense is too good to tank for Caleb. Yeah, I think we're going to win too many games. I think the Jets team is too good even without Aaron Rodgers. We're going to be sitting somewhere like around 10. I think we're going to have to make a move similar to the 49ers to try and get up if we want to make something happen. Michael says, Jets kept Zach Wilson instead of Mike White to justify picking him second overall. They will live to regret that ego-driven decision when Mike White was clearly the better guy to groom under Rodgers. Didn't White already get knocked out? I think he has a concussion. I don't even think he's playing right now. I mean, there's no way you should have kept Mike White over Zach Wilson. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to get behind that thought process. As much as I really liked Mike White, and I was hoping that he would be our backup, like behind Zach, or even second string, and Zach could be third string. Mike White's the perennial perfect backup quarterback. Just a good guy, locker room dude, can run the offense, gritty, really like him. But the upside of Zach was always going to be the reason why they kept him, along with the draft status. So you're not wrong with the second overall pick. But I don't know how much it was an ego-driven decision as much as it was just like a financial decision too. Like the Jets have a lot of money invested in Zach, and Mike White was a free agent. So it sucks, but it is what it is. Mumtaz says, Aaron Rodgers didn't complete even one pass in a Jets uniform. Yeah, that didn't even occur to me. I know he had 2 runs and then 2 botched throw plays, one being the sack and one being, I guess an incomplete pass to the right-hand side. I don't know what the hell they were thinking about having Brown and Becton do these chop blocks. They're the slowest, biggest lumbering tackles. Why would you have guys diving at the floor? Keep your head up. And Rodgers, if you know that's going to happen, get the ball out quick. Kevin says, I heard on the radio them talking about trading for Stafford or Cousins. What do you think? I would like either option. I don't think either one's realistic. Stafford is more realistic just because of the way his contract works. It's actually not terrible. It would be $1.5 million this year and $31 million next year. So if you could convince the Rams that Stafford needs to come to the Jets, then I'd be cool with that. I like Kirk Cousins. I don't see... Oh, I guess you go with Kirk after the season, right? That would be fucking weird. After he threw, told the Jets they were nothing, took less money to go to Minnesota. That would be interesting. If Rodgers retires, then Kirk is interesting. That would be a full circle thing. My first video on this channel was why Kirk Cousins will be a New York Jet. If that ended up happening, that'd be kind of wonky. Daniel K. Thank you for the super chat, dude. Much appreciated. I don't see another comment in there, but your first one, so I appreciate it. If I see a comment pop through on the chat, I'll throw it up for you. Marvin Guns, thank you for the super chat. Same thing. If I see a comment pop up on the side, I'll throw it up in the chat for you guys. Much appreciated, though. Oh, there it is. Give me 1 second. Where did it go? Marvin Gunn says, who do you think is better, Zach or Mark Sanchez? I mean, it's hard to argue Zach when the results have not looked good at all. Sanchez was really, he got us to 2 AFC Championship games, right? In some form or fashion. I liked Mark a lot. I would say him and Zach are eerily kind of similar, where they're turnover prone, can create some wow plays. I guess I would take Zach just knowing what Sanchez was. There's still kind of hope for Zach to kind of turn it around. It is eerily similar, I guess. Charles Gorman celebrates 5 months of membership. What's up, Charles? Says, I know losing Rodgers sucks, but now we get to see what Zach Wilson looks like with an experienced offensive coordinator. Yeah, I would have much rather had Aaron Rodgers and never seen what Zach Wilson looks like with a legitimate offensive coordinator. But I understand. Glass half full, Charles. Eternal optimism. I like it. I do have a poll question up, and you guys can vote on that. It looks like we got 545 people that have voted in that already. Which emoji describes you? There's the anger emoji, the vomit emoji, the crying emoji, or the meh emoji, the I have no feelings emoji. I feel like all four kind of, if I could vote for all of them, it would be a resounding all of them. I have a very odd feeling across the board right now. It sucks. It's really fucking frustrating. Crossfire comes in, says, I can't even function at work. Dude, I couldn't go to work today. I was like, this is not something I can do. I'll hit the ground running tomorrow, but this is just not in the cards today. Pure Adrenaline Sports says, how do we get the fourth quarter in Pittsburgh version of Zach? Yeah, I don't know. Having your, Brees and AVT certainly helps. Adding Dalvin Cook, adding Lazard, adding Cobb. There's a lot more weapons that are here now than what we had with Zach last year. Just having AVT, Becton, and Dwayne Brown is a huge upgrade. I don't know how we get that out of him. Twisted says, this sucks so much. We have a Lamborghini and blew the engine. We're replacing it with a Chevy V8. JD needs to find us a quarterback. I don't know the right move. I would trade a pick for Gardner Minshew. I really like Gardner Minshew. I hadn't considered that as an option. But I would very much be in favor of Gardner Minshew. I feel like that's less threatening, maybe. I feel like Wentz is kind of less threatening, too, those two guys. Once you start talking about, a Kyler Murray, not that Kyler's not even going to be healthy till, mid-season, maybe. I don't particularly feel great about Kyler either. He's not the quarterback that makes me feel warm and fuzzies. Sam says, I refuse to watch Wilson. I refuse. I'm watching every game. Dude, this team's so good. If Zach can turn it around, I would love nothing more than for Zach to be our franchise quarterback and be the guy moving forward. I feel like Zach is a very easy guy to root for. Especially, like, I don't kind of view Zach as his worst, like when we saw that like 6-game losing streak last year and how he kind of answered questions at the end of the season. I don't think that's Zach all the time. I think it's more so him trying to get out of the press conference and just maybe not reading the room the right way. But I think Zach's a good dude, and I would love to see him be able to succeed. So I don't think they're going balls to the wall on any, like, I don't see a Stafford trade happening. I don't see a Cousins trade happening. I don't know. Ooh, I didn't realize Minshew was on the practice squad. That's wild. If Minshew's on the practice squad, fucking sign him. Let's go. Bring him and Wentz in. Just bring us all the quarterbacks. We just need healthy bodies. Daniel K. What's up, Daniel? He says, would you trade a first for Stafford this year if the Rams are willing? Ooh, man. Stafford scares me because of his injuries. And if he's not done, but he can win a Super Bowl, I would strongly consider it. I'm afraid to give up the first, but at this point, like, fuck it. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess maybe. Damn, I don't know. Sure. Why not? Let's give up the first. Christopher comes and says, are you okay that we won't lose a first-round pick this year? I would much rather lose the first-round pick and have Rodgers. Marvin Guns dropping in the super chat. Thank you, Marvin. If I see a comment tied to this, I will throw it up there. Scotty says, Rams said they are not trading Stafford. No. Yeah, not to mention they just won a game. So, and like McVay came back too. They're like, if McVay retired, then I think Stafford would have been more apt to be traded. I mean, if McVay says, hey, look, first round pick for Stafford at this point, that's enough to keep me around in the future, then they probably make the move. But I don't think it's going to happen. They just won. Ronald Perry says Carson Wentz, end of discussion. I do think that's going to be the most likely route. Wentz has played the best to damn near an MVP caliber level before he got hurt in Philadelphia. Joe Douglas was in Philadelphia when Carson Wentz was already on the team. He was drafted that same year, but I believe Douglas came into the Eagles like 2 months after he was drafted. So I don't know how much Douglas really had in terms of like, you know, how much did he actually scout Wentz and like Wentz as opposed to just going to a team that already had him? What was his feeling with Wentz while he was there? I feel like a Wentz-Zach dynamic in the locker room isn't like great. But I do feel like Carson Wentz is probably the most likely one. See, Rigo said, no, he isn't. He played last weekend when Anthony Richardson got hurt. I didn't watch all the Colts game. But yeah, I was going to say, why would you put Minshew, who I would definitely think is your backup? He can't be on the practice squad, right? Aaron comes in and says, Tuesday, never been so sour, shake my head. We got an elite defense. I still think we can make the playoffs. It just sucks we can't have nice things. Yeah, it feels like we can't ever have nice things. You got a nice shiny quarterback, Sam Darnold. Well, guess what? You can't get any weapons around him. He's going to get mono, and he's knocked out forever. Oh, you got a real good shot at getting Trevor Lawrence. Well, Braden Mann fucking tackles the kick returner. How often does a punter stop the kick returner? Like damn near never. No Trevor Lawrence. Oh, we got Zach. Oh, he turned into a pumpkin. Oh, we got Rodgers. Gone. We got Favre, 8-3, torn labrum. Vinny Testaverde, blown Achilles. Card Cave Central said Nick Faria tweet. Did they confirm it? Is that what you're getting at here? Let's see what's going on. So spoke to a sports medicine source at NYU Langone about Rodgers' injury and where the Jets go from here in the AM. There is some good news. While it's almost certainly an Achilles injury and could cost him the year, the fact that the injury was suffered on his left leg is a good sign Rodgers will be back as good as new next season without any limitations. The source explains that it being on the right leg could have affected his push-off. That was something I was talking about yesterday. Source expects Rodgers to be fine after surgery if the MRI confirms a tear, could quell any retirement rumors as well, but we'll wait to hear from Aaron there. Yeah, I would think since it's on his left leg and he's not planting on it, that is a lot better. I believe the leg that Vinny hurt was his plant leg, and that was kind of a different situation. Jesse says at this point, call up Big Ben. I don't want Big Ben either. Across the pond says, thrilled the Jets beat the Bills with a quarterback too, Wilson, but gutted for Rodgers. I pray it's just a sprain and not his Achilles. Yeah, it seems the way everyone's talking about it, it would be very surprising if it was anything other than the Achilles. Angelo says, let's hope Zach can pull off a Nick Foles. In Zach we trust. Look, Zach's been going through camp with us. He knows the offense. He knows the weapons. He knows the coaches. I feel like he's the most logical player right now. And I feel like you ride him until, what do you say, maybe the bye week 7? Give him that long. And if we come out of the first 6 games and we're 3-3, maybe you make a change. If you're 4-2, you probably hold strong. It depends how Zach looks in these games. And then do you make a trade or do you sign someone else? The only issue is if you're hanging around waiting too long and Wentz gets picked up somewhere else. I mean, I guess you still bring him in regardless. And then you just let Zach kind of let it rip while the other quarterback starts to learn. And then in the event that Zach, looks like dog shit, then you can make a move at that point. City Bert said, rank 'em: Cousins, Kyler, Winston, Matt Ryan, Rivers, Cam Newton, Darnold. So let's go worst. I don't really want Rivers or Matt Ryan or Cam Newton. Those 3 I would throw out with the bathwater. I am not a big Kyler or Winston fan. Of this group, I think Cousins and Kyler are the 2 best. I love me some Sam Darnold. I can't see any situation where Sam Darnold's the Jets quarterback, but man, I would love it. It would be so cool. I just feel like you can't get rid of Sam, draft Zach, and then bring back Sam and have either quarterback be like rationally okay with it. I don't know. Like, I love Sammy Boy. I like Cousins. Cousins was the whole reason I started the channel. My first video was why the Jets are going to get Kirk Cousins. I don't know. Kyler in the offseason, I do think is realistic, though. In the event that Rodgers retires. If he's not going to retire and he's playing next season, just wipe it off the board. It's going to be Rodgers. It's going to be Zach again next year. Marvin Guns says, didn't Aaron Rodgers tweak his calf during training camp? He did. I just don't know if it's the same leg. Someone was saying it was. Mike says, can we pull up the O'Leary combine tape? He might be the guy. Yeah, O'Leary 605. You haven't seen O'Leary's combine tape? It's one of the better videos on the internet. It lives rent-free in my head at all times. Dylan Gray says, call up Arizona, ask for Kyler in 4 weeks. He could be our guy. I think you look at it. You consider your options. If they needed to get Kyler to take a clause in his contract that he would study, I don't have faith that he's going to be able to pick up an offense midseason and play after an ACL injury. Not to mention you're going to be giving up like 2 firsts for him, or first plus. And if Rodgers comes back next year, then why would you want Kyler, I guess, right? Like, it's kind of the weird thing. I don't know. I'm not a big Kyler guy. Rico says, Carson Wentz is a locker room cancer. I usually don't buy into the whole football character stuff, but Wentz has been proven to be a turnover-prone diva. There's something to the Nick Foles, Eagles, Wentz thing that happened in Philly. There's something as to why he got jettisoned from Indianapolis. There's a reason why he's one and done in Washington. I don't know. Just something about Carson Wentz doesn't make me feel great. City Bert says, can you tell us about your experience at the game last night, before, during, after? Hope you got some sleep. Dude, I was distraught. But let's go through. I do want to run through yesterday, because yesterday was a really cool day. Omitting the injury, it's very hard to just say that, but omitting the injury, very cool day. Got to the game, the parking lot, like 4:30 or so. Linked up with Tigo. So it's Tigo, me, my brother, and my brother's friend. And we headed over to Blewett's tailgate. So I saw Blewett and Anya. That was a lot of fun. Did a shotgun with Blewett. They're flipping up some great tacos. Holy hell. Some of the best tacos I've ever had. That was really cool. Then I saw the Jet Nation guys for a little bit. Saw Phil. Then swung by the Gotham City tailgate. Saw Ali. Saw Richie and like the AFC East guys. That was fun. Oh, and saw Bill Ruckert and Max Mitchell's dad. They're walking around through the parking lot. I was like, hey, what's up? I was like, Bill, I met you. And I didn't know who Max Mitchell's dad was at the time, because I don't think I've ever seen him. But he was right there. I was like, oh, no way. Like, you guys are awesome. Like, your sons with the future of the Jets and like all these high hopes and everything. They were super nice. Really nice dudes. Max Mitchell's dad watches the channel, and I'm assuming Ruckert's dad probably watches some of us as well. But Max made a point of it. Oh, I watch your videos. I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's really neat. I enjoyed that. And then we go into the stadium, and dude, I had never heard. I was a season ticket holder for like 15 years with my dad, and I had never heard the stadium that loud. Like, I would, at the beginning of the game, when it was like half filled, the Jet chant was so much louder early before the game started compared to any time afterwards. Like, the closest thing we got was like the going bananas on the final kickoff, and probably there was a few high points in between there, but the Jet chant was never the same again after the first few Jet chants. Like the first ones when Rodgers came out of the tunnel and like everyone, like earth shaking. You felt the stadium rock. Very, very cool atmosphere. The lights on the bracelets all going. I thought that was awesome. Sat with some great people. The energy in the stadium, like everything was good. And as soon as the injury happened, we're like, wait, Aaron Rodgers just sat down. What's going on? Like, he looks fine. He's walking. It's going to be an ankle. But you just felt an audible, like, gasp. And you knew something, like, you knew it was over. There was just that gut-wrenching feeling. And, like, I'm refreshing Twitter. The Jet fans were totally taken out of the game at that point. And kudos to the rest of the team. The defense, Whitehead, the D-line, Zach Brees, Cook, Wilson, like, Garrett Wilson. These guys, Lazard, like, all balled out. And, like, full team win. Gibson returning the kick. That was one of the coolest kick returns I've ever seen. Really cool. It was fun leaving the stadium. Like, Jet fans were hyped. One of the best games I've ever seen. Certainly the most memorable game I'll ever see, I think, based on like the way the game ended and how it started. talk about high and low. Like, is there any other? Have you been on a crazier roller coaster than that? I was at the Monday Night Miracle. I was there with the Jumbo Elliott touchdown. I was there, Jets Packers, when we didn't think we had a shot again in the playoffs. And then the Patriots won and the Jets had to beat the Packers to get in, and we got in. That was like the best game I had been to, I think. That's still going to wind up being like one of the best games I've ever been to because there was no downside to that game. This one we had like a big old downside. The energy was unreal though. Alex Arroyo says, is there anything we could do for Andrew Luck? Dude, could you imagine if the Jets were like, Andrew, listen, or like, yo, Indianapolis, we've got a first round pick here. It's clear as day Luck's not doing anything. I can't see Luck being good after being out of the league, 5 years now? But imagine if the Jets were the team to get him to come out of retirement. I feel like I'd be more like sketched out about that because of like how long he's been out of the game for. Enrique says, at this moment, how long can you wait on Zach or search for a new quarterback? If you do go for it all, for all the marbles, for a good quarterback or just someone to hold down the fort. So it depends how we feel Rodgers is going to do. I think you try to get someone like I like the Gardner Minshew route a lot. I think Gardner Minshew can give you average quarterback play, and I think average quarterback play is enough to win you a Super Bowl with this team. I think you can win the division with average quarterback play. I also think Gardner Minshew would not be a liability from I don't want to say liability. Liability is the wrong word. I think he's not necessarily a threat to Zach Wilson as much as it's like, hey, we need a capable backup, and he's capable. Like, he's the guy. I'd like to see that. I don't know how invested the Jets were in trying to get him or if the Colts would even be interested in moving him. With the way Anthony Richardson plays the game, they might need a capable backup. Carson Wentz, I feel like, is because of his relationship, or put it this way, Carson Wentz could either be an option or not an option based on his relationship with Douglas. If Douglas says, hey, I know Carson Wentz, I don't want Carson Wentz, I'm fine with that. If he says, I know Carson Wentz, I want Carson Wentz, I'm fine with that. Like, I trust Joe Douglas's thoughts on this. But I'm fine with going all in. I just don't know what option there is to go all in. Because Kyler Murray, to me, is not that all-in move. I would be fine waiting on Zach and letting him see how he plays through these first 6 weeks and then making a move, because the trade deadline is like, is it just before the Giants game or right after the Giants game? It's like literally just before November, I think. So you got some time. You just don't want another quarterback to go down and one of these players signs elsewhere. I think that's the bigger concern. But I would put some feelers out for sure. Douglas has to be working the phone. You got too many good players on this team to just roll over. Marvin Guns, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, did you see when Vinny tore his Achilles in the first game of 1999? That was devastating too, but nowhere near as much as last night. So I was at the game when Vinny tore his Achilles. I think it was the beginning of the second quarter. And we're standing there. We're like, I'm section 327, back to the concrete, like second to last row. And we're up there, and you just watch Vinny drop back and go down, and just everyone goes, oh, we know what that is. Like, Vinny's was much more evident immediately. Rodgers, I guess once you start looking at the replays in stadium, you didn't necessarily know right away. He was in a walking boot. He was kind of walking around. So it's like, all right, maybe it's an ankle. That's kind of what you heard. Like, maybe it was a high ankle sprain. But like with Vinny, because of the way he dropped, it was non-contact, just snap and down. Jets were in the playoffs the year before. They were in the AFC Championship game against the Broncos and probably should have gotten to the Super Bowl. So the expectation was Super Bowl or bust that year. So losing Vinny, that deflated the sails. I feel like this team overall was better, and the hype around Rodgers was such that, like, you've seen it happen with Stafford. You saw it happen with Manning. You saw it happen with Brady. Elite quarterbacks transfer teams and get surrounded by talent, they win Super Bowls. And that's what was going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. And I think that's the biggest gut punch for me. This one hurts more, I think, because of the recency of it, as well as just the build up for everything. We had 10 years of chaos and losses, 12 years, whatever you want to call it. And we finally had that light at the end of the tunnel. With Vinny, we had the winning the year before, so we were kind of expecting it. It's a weird, different kind of rough. Chris comes in, says, when I saw Rodgers go down and sit, I thought he was slowing the game down. Dude, when I saw him sit, I was like, okay, something felt weird. And he's like, I'm not going to walk. I'm just going to like let it go. I'm going to sit here. We'll hobble off. And then they helped him off. And I was like, that's not great. And then when I saw the cart come out of the tunnel, that was the oh no. Like, if you need to get in a cart from the sideline, like the sideline to where you go into the stadium to wherever Rodgers had to go to get the X-ray, it's like 25 yards. It's not far. They literally got him on the cart, drove 25 yards, and got him off the cart, and he walked into the building. That's what I was hoping for, though. I was hoping it was like, okay, hey, let's take a breather. Offensive line's been a little rough. Let me catch my breath, and then we'll get going. That was the hope. Bimbus says Hackett has to trust Wilson and Dominique. Hackett has to trust Wilson and Dominique Robinson. I'm confused. I'm not sure I understand? Question mark? Hackett has to trust Will. Is that a... I don't know if I understand where you're going with this. Are you talking about a drafted player? 25 years old. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, Bimbus. I'm confused. Oh, backup on the Browns. I don't know. Would the Browns trade us their backup quarterback? Maybe. Daniel says, Gardner Minshew, are you blind, bruh? Stick with Zach at that point. Well, yeah, I'm not saying like trade anything major for Gardner Minshew. I think he's on like $1 million contract. He's got like a really low contract. I would totally trade for Gardner. Patrick says, are you all in dreamland? Rodgers is not coming back. He is done, back to his dark hideaway. I don't know. I mean, you might be able to see him come back next year. The nice thing is it happened at the beginning of the season, so he should be ready pretty close to training camp next year if he wants to play. Mr. Meeseeks. Mad Mr. Meeseeks. Thank you for the super chat. First one. I appreciate it. I feel bad that this is like the day to do it, I guess. But thank you. Listen, here it is. We got the best wide receiver and running back in the league. Get Zach out of the pocket early and often. Lean into the schoolyard madness. Garrett's going to single-handedly pull Zach up to his level. I do want to see Zach just have fun back there. I don't like how LaFleur handled Zach last season. I felt like it was too regimented. I want to see Zach react and use his athleticism. I want to see RPOs like all damn day. Fuck it. Let Zach, like, I want to see him run. Just let it happen. Well, what's the worst thing that could happen? Oh, Zach goes down for the season? My hopes and dreams are already in the shitter for the year. So, like, I'm on board. I can ride or die, Zach. In Joe we trust. Right? Jeff, Packer fan here. Hurt for you guys and A-Rod. Really sucks. Yeah, like this sucks because there was a lot of Packers fans that were pulling for the Jets this year, and it was really fun. It was a nice, like, as much as we could be the villains because it's like, oh, we have Aaron Rodgers as opposed to, maybe some other quarterback and, some part of the the league and general population feel a certain way about Rodgers. But the Green Bay Packers fans who got to watch Rodgers and the Jet fans, like there was a nice blending of the fan bases, kind of like how, the Lions and Stafford and the Patriots and Tom Brady and like, all that stuff. When those guys move, there you sort of follow those allegiances. And yeah, dude, it sucks. It really sucks. Marvin Guns coming with another super chat says, give Zach some designed runs. I want RPOs. Give him the option. Make it easy. Roll him out. Give him half the field to look at. Lean on Cook. Lean on Brees. Lean on your tight ends. And then trust Garrett Wilson. When you get one-on-one opportunities, just let it rip. Trust that he's going to be able to come down with the ball. That's what you do. Cooper says, I like the hope, but it's got to be the Achilles. No other injury looks like that. No, that's definitely an Achilles. 100%. I was hopeful until I saw that one replay. I had it on my video that I released at like 1 a.m. When I got back from the game. But once I saw that, I was like, nope, that's it. That's all it is. Tron Givolta says, I give Zach credit for the hit he put on Milano after the interception. Zach's a gritty dude. Like, I want Zach to work out. He's a fun quarterback to watch when it actually like clicks. Doesn't click often. But if he can hit the easy shit, like the little slants and the bubble screens and the, regular screens, like if he can hit those passes, that's all you need, because he has the arm strength to like force teams to have to worry about his arm. And he's pretty accurate downfield. It's the short stuff that we've been worried about. Card Cave Central says, redeem year for Zach. F it. This team is too talented. Yeah, I want to see a redemption year for Zach Wilson. I'm ride or die Zach. Let's go. I said I wanted Zach as my QB2. I didn't think we were going to need it this quickly. But let's go. I would like to add someone else, though, as like his backup. I don't want Boyle coming in. That Candy Boot, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, I could dig my own grave today. I woke up at 4 a.m. and immediately thought about how awful this is. The offseason hype, the build-up Hard Knocks, all gone in 4 plays. This is devastating 5 times. Jesus. Dude, I can't tell you like how distraught I am. Like I know like all Jet fans are super distraught, and I'm not any different than like all you guys, but holy hell, like the little bit from like a content perspective was like, wow, we're going to have Rodgers for the next 2 or 3 years. Like this is going to be a lot of fun to make content for the next chunk of time. And if this is as bad as we think it is, and there's going to be the real conversation of retirement, like just rug pulled out from underneath. Oh, geez. Yeah, dude, talk about build up. That's like, I don't know if there's been more hype and more like of a letdown, right? Like, I guess Brady, was the undefeated season for Brady after the ACL? I think it was. I think he tore his ACL in like 2006 and he won in 2008. Or no, he tore it in the year we had Favre, right? I think that's how that worked. So then that could have been, I think it was before the perfect season. I don't remember which one came first, but I would feel like if the Patriots lost in the Super Bowl and they thought they had a shot at winning and then they tore the ACL, that would be like a hype train too. Dude, Candy Boot, I'm there with you. This sucks. Michael says, was it just me or did Sauce have an unusually bad game last night? So I'd have to rewatch. I don't actually know. My buddy did text me. I think at one point Allen was 4 for 4 targeting Sauce. I don't know. It happens, but who knows? Maybe Sauce and Reed and those guys, like, because of their covering, allowed Whitehead to take advantage of some more errant throws or some ball hawking ability. So it could be some other things that are going on. But yeah, I did just hear a stat that Sauce was 4 for 4. I don't know if that was on Diggs, if that was on Gabe Davis. I saw him on Gabe Davis a lot last night. I saw Diggs in the slot a lot, which meant it was Michael Carter on him. James coming in with Super Chat. James says, listen, I was there last night. It was an absolute zoo, 112 decibels, amazing, but what the fuck, 4 plays in, I can't believe it. I took off work. I'm disgusted, but it's time for Zach to take the diaper off and step it up. Dude, I want Zach, like, big boy mode right now. Like, show us that you are the number 2 overall pick. Show us that your talent is there. Show us that what we saw last year was a product of the offensive line, a shitty offensive coordinator, and just bad situations across the board. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. But yeah, dude, I'm with you. I was supposed to work today. I could not work. I had to take off. I'm in a rough spot right now. Master at work. It was good seeing you at the game. He said, great finally meeting you at the game, bro. After Rodgers went down, it felt like I was at a funeral. You just can't make that shit up for y'all. Dude, really nice meeting you first and foremost. Master at Work's one of the 4 guys in the AFC East roundtable. Real good dude. I can't describe, like, the feeling. Like, I know you were there. And, like, I would imagine it's got to be something similar. So, Master, if you're still in this chat, let me know how similar this was to like when Brady tore his ACL for you guys. Like, can you give us some sort of ish comparison? Like, you guys obviously had Super Bowls. You had 3 Super Bowls at that point with Brady prior to the ACL, where the Jets don't have one for 50 years. So it's a little different from that respect. But yeah, dude, the wind and the air that got sucked out of that stadium. Like, I'm talking, like, as hyped as the Jets were against the Patriots week 2, however many years ago, when we got the fumble that wasn't really a fumble, and then, like, Zach started throwing the interceptions, like the wind getting sucked out of the stadium. That was the fastest I've ever seen it sucked out. That was very, very disheartening. That sucked. All the way around. Let's see. We got Jonathan W. hopping in, says, heartbroken, no words. What could have been this year? It's not over yet. It's certainly gloomy, but it's not over yet. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Gotta believe. Gotta believe. Marvin Guns comes in with a super chat. Says, I like your take on how to utilize Zach. Utilizes athleticism. This could be fun. I really like watching Zach run. I like his big arm. I feel like if you lean on the rest of the talent on this team, Zach can be a Trent Dilfer with higher athleticism. Like, that can be a thing. Like, I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with, like, Trent Dilfer right now, but I think Zach is a better athlete by a wide margin. And if you can rely on his athleticism and his athletic gifts, I mean, the dude ripped off a 40-yard run in preseason and, like, lowered his shoulder. Like, there is gonna be some level of, like, the team's gonna be behind Zach, I think. I think there's a clear shift in what's going on, and I think getting Elijah Moore out, I think getting Denzel Mims out, I think all played a factor in all of this. Not a factor, but, like, in the locker room dynamic, maybe. And maybe it's just a narrative between One Jets Drive and Hard Knocks that everything's peachy keen with Zach Wilson behind the scenes. But I don't know. I want to see Zach. I do want to see Zach. Card Cave Central comes in again with Super Chat. Says, no better option than Zach. Bring backup. We've seen on Hard Knocks the coaching loves Zach. They will put him in a position to succeed. Last night, the gameplay was built for Rodgers. Will get better. That's where I'm at on this. I do think that the game plan was all about Rodgers. He had all these different, plays called and things set up for just Rodgers, and he's getting the first team snaps all week. Now you got to shift to Zach, and it's like, okay, we got to build a game plan for what works for Zach. Like, we wanted Zach to fit within the confines of our offense, yes, because everyone else is linked up to that offense. But I want to see some RPOs. I want to see them lean on the athleticism of Zach Wilson and just let him just simplify the game. And you got to roll with Zach this week. If you want to bring in a backup quarterback to say, hey, we got to get him up to speed, and that way you and him are going to go back and forth, and like Zach, you're our guy. You could say Zach, our guy, the entire time, and then pull the plug at another point if you want to. But I do like going with Zach, and I do think that we should see better play from him with a game plan that's designed for him. Mad Mr. Meeseeks says, for what it's worth, Zach didn't look scared at all. No, he looked confident. And he wasn't really twirling around. He did have a few where he ran way far back and then ripped the ball out of bounds, which was fine. But yeah, I'm hoping we see a new look Zach. Blitz Crew. What's up, Blitz? He says, if Aaron Rodgers can guide Zach, still can be a playoff team. Hall was a monster. How about Whitehead? This sucks, but we were still good enough to beat the Bills. Can still compete. That's how you have to look at it if you're the Jets and the locker room and everything. We lost Aaron Rodgers. We didn't have him the entire game. He didn't complete one pass for the New York Jets. And we took down one of the best teams in the AFC with Zach Wilson. Why can't we do that to Dallas? Why can't we do that to the Patriots? I think it's entirely possible that the Jets can go and still beat any team in this league because we have such a good defense. The bad part is going to be if we have to keep up with other teams' offenses, because I don't yet have confidence in Zach to do that. In order to be a good quarterback, you have to be able to score points, and Zach just has been very bad at doing that. So hopefully with a game plan that's designed for him, we get to see a new look Zach. Chris comes in. Chris says, we need Zach to focus on football, not moms. I think he's focused on football. Team Killer says, Jets are snake bitten. As fans, need to set expectations with assuming the best player is on IR, the Namath curse. Yeah, Namath sold his soul to the devil to get that Super Bowl win for us, and we are snake bitten until then. Love me, Joe Willie Namath. I want him to see a Super Bowl. That's not him winning the Super Bowl. But man, it's hard not to feel like, some sort of way about that curse, because it feels real. Jay, thank you for the super chat, says, so many tears. What the fuck? It's football. Players get injured. Put your heads up and stop crying. Go Jets. Oh, well, yeah, but it's like the most important player on your team. Like the guy. How many teams lose the guy and do really well? You're talking Tom Brady, Matt Castle, Carson Wentz, Nick Foles, but that's like one of one. I mean, I shouldn't say one of one. I guess you got Brady taking the place of Bledsoe at one point. Look, I'm ride or die Jets. I'm still watching every game, still going to watch every snap, going to overanalyze every clip that we get. But it definitely feels like, I don't know. It's football. Players get injured. Yeah, not Hall of Fame quarterbacks, though. Steve is real. Says, will the NFL pull all the Jets' primetime games with Rodgers done for the season? I think they should consider it. I don't want to see it happen. But I don't know if they... I don't know how it works. I don't know how you work on flexing those types of games. I think it depends on how Zach looks. Like, I think this early in the season, I guess we don't have a primetime game for the next 2 weeks. So the next one's Sunday night against the Chiefs. If Zach looks like dog crap, maybe they flex it, I guess. I don't know. I feel like you're still going to get the first bit of the season in primetime. You still have the Black Friday game. Man. I don't know. Might not be a bad day. Might not be a bad thing for them to do, though. Jack D says, if you want to blame anyone, blame Douglas for signing Cook instead of an offensive lineman. Jack, what offensive lineman were you going to sign? Don't blame Joe Douglas if you're not going to provide a name with who the Jets should have signed. Jay comes in with super chat. Jay says, as long as they don't waste time like they did with Rick Meyer and go forward. Are you talking about like Zach, or just more so like the feeling of the team in general? it's going to be tough. Like, we just won an emotional game. I'm hoping the Cowboys kind of sleep on us. You know, they're all high and mighty about them stomping out the Giants on the road, 40-0. They're going to say, oh, it's a cupcake game. Aaron Rodgers isn't playing. We'll win, no problem. And I hope the Jets come out and just fucking run it down their throat. Don't give them an option. Just beat the ever-living piss out of them. So I hope it's a quick turnaround. It's got to be. 5 days, you're playing the Cowboys. Antonio says, just out of curiosity, what about Cam Newton? I don't want Cam Newton. I don't think he's a good quarterback. And I think he's cooked also. David, what is this O'Leary combine tape you speak of? He put out a combine tape after Zach got hurt last year in the preseason, and it was one of the most glorious things I've ever seen. It's really funny. I think he put it up as a short. I don't know. Look at a video sometime in August from O'Leary of last year. He did a combine tape, and it was great. 6'5", unathletic, 225 or 245 or whatever he is. Really funny stuff. Chris says, when these owners going to stop with the turf and put grass on their stadiums, so many injuries could be avoided. Yeah, you feel like if you had natural grass, the foot would have slid because the dirt would have given way. Having the rubberized turf, it stuck, and you saw Rodgers' foot plant and not slide back. And I think that's what caused the injury. And you saw Bakhtiari take to social media and chew out the NFL. You saw DJ Reed say we should be going to turf. And it would not shock me if this field didn't make it the end of the season. And they were like, yep, you're right. Let's fucking rip it out. And unfortunately, it takes like an Aaron Rodgers level of player to have the type of success or the type of impact on changing a game. Changing the rules of a game, I guess is what I should say. Joe S. says the networks are pissed. Yeah, they're going to have... It's going to be like watching well, hopefully not, but it's going to be like watching the Broncos where you put all your money into Russell Wilson being this primetime quarterback and then he shits the bed. Jay says, I feel bad for Dwayne Brown getting ripped, but that play designed was a quick pass that didn't happen. Yeah, I don't blame Dwayne for what happened. I blame, I don't know if it was Hackett or, who called a chop block for both Becton the play before and Brown on that play. Very odd way to have two of your, I don't want to say slower moving, but, bigger body guys coming back of injuries. Why are you having them dive to the ground? They're huge. Just block them outright. Yeah, Rodgers should have got rid of the ball. As soon as he felt pressure, he should have just threw it in the dirt. Lived to fight another day. He wanted to play hero ball, and it got him hurt. It sucks. El Kagan 24 says, any news on the MRI yet? I haven't seen the news on the MRI yet. Yeah, I don't know. Just scrolling through my phone. I'm sure you guys will let me know if you see it. Jack D says, if they trade for a veteran, that's how many assets. Wait, if they trade for a veteran, that's how many assets for a quarterback. We gave up a ton for Rodgers. We're fucked for the future. No, I mean, look, we wound up trading down 2 draft slots in this year's draft. And by all accounts, we only missed out on Broderick Jones, who's a backup right now, and Will McDonald looks legit. So I'm not even concerned about the two pick slide back. And then you're giving up a second round pick for a Hall of Fame quarterback. If you told me I could give up a second round pick and I was going to have a shot at a Super Bowl, I'd be like, okay, cool. Now who's the quarterback and what's the circumstances surrounding it? And then be like, okay, well, it sucks. You got hurt and you wound up missing it. But Rodgers is still signed. This could go longer than just this year. So ultimately you give up a second round pick and a trade down 2 slots in the first. If you think Rodgers could win you something next year, that trade's worth it. We got plenty of assets still. We got all our draft picks, so I'm not concerned from that perspective. Team Killer says Wentz to the Jets would be my guess as backup. Yeah, that feels like the right move. JR Martinez, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, first of all, hate to see Rodgers go down and out. Second, I have no confidence in Zach Wilson. Those who do, you must like suffering. Only way this works is ground and pound play action like Sanchez days. Yeah, well, I think you have to lean on that to help your quarterback until he can understand enough of the game to rely on him yourself. I don't trust Zach to be at that point right now. He hasn't proven to not be turnover prone. But after he did throw the turnover last night, he was clean the rest of the way out. So maybe that's a start. And also the game plan wasn't built for him. So I'm hoping that because that game plan is going to be catered to Zach this time, I do think we're going to rely heavily on the run. It just sucks because other teams are going to force Zach to throw. They're going to put 8 in the box. They're going to try and stop Brees. They're going to try and stop Cook. And they're going to say, hey, Zach, you're going to beat us with your arm. That's how we're going to lose this game. That's the only way you're going to do it. And I'm afraid of that because I don't trust Zach's arm right now. But if Zach can hit the short stuff and he can do the screen passes to Brees and Cook, maybe that neutralizes some of the pass rush and kind of gets them out a little bit. Having Rodgers and his ability to hit plays downfield was so big. I don't have a crazy ton of confidence in Zach Wilson right now, but I'm cautiously optimistic that some sort of mental reset has gone on there. Twisted said, we've seen that answer to that question last year. Teams just stack the box. Yep. Alex said, Rossini reported that Rodgers didn't like the plays where the lineman would chop block the DN so he could have a chance to extend the play. 2 of them in a row were called, which led to the injury. Yeah, if that's the case, Rodgers has got to be pissed. But it's got to be, I would think it's on Hackett, right? Hackett decides that, I would think. That can't be an offensive line coach thing. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you get Bakhtiari in the offseason at left tackle. Make Rodgers feel happy. I almost wonder if Rodgers would have felt more comfortable with Billy Turner behind him. And Billy Turner was kind of a turnstile, so I don't know how much it would have actually been better anyway. But I wonder if that was kind of in the back of his mind. Brian says JD should talk Luck out of retirement. Luck retired because his offensive line sucked. Like, I can't imagine him looking at our offensive line and being like, oh, that's where I want to go. Not to mention, the Colts still own his rights. So I don't know what they would want. I don't know what they would want for Luck to make a move. I would like to see someone, I don't know. I'm not crazy about Carson Wentz. I think that's probably where the Jets go. I wouldn't mind seeing Gardner Minshew. I think Gardner is like a non-polarizing, exciting to rally behind player that gives you baseline, average quarterback play. And I think that's what the Jets can do. I think the Jets can get to the playoffs with like average. Heck, top 20 level quarterback play. We're probably in the playoffs. Brian says, it's on Rodgers. Does anyone not realize why Dwayne Brown had to cut block assignment? The ball was supposed to be out right away. It's a 3-step drop. Yeah, Rodgers holding onto the ball was really, really the big issue. Like, I'm still irritated that they had Dwayne Brown chop block, but it's definitely on Rodgers. And the turf. And it's a combination of a few things. But if Rodgers gets rid of that ball, he lives to fight another day. Gohan Angered says, chat, Aikman literally explained it last night. So I didn't watch the broadcast, so I'm curious to see where you're going with this. Why the interception Zach threw shouldn't have happened. He literally broke it down on the cast. He's not making the right read still. Okay, so that's where you're coming from with that. J.R. Costa says, only the Jets can make all my years of Knicks heartaches look like child's play. They just have a special way to just rip your heart out, the Jets do. Richard, bro, Luck is a stay-at-home dad on weed. Get real. Yeah, I don't see Luck coming out of retirement. I think he's fine. Andrew says if he didn't like it, he could have checked out of it. Rodgers had full command. Yeah. He also trusts his. Oh, you guys just said confirmed it. Yep. Darth Nix. MRI confirmed. Achilles tear. So let's see. Where is. Who was the one that said? Tom Pelissero. Let's pull this up over here. MRI confirmed the Jets' fears. Four-time NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers suffered a complete tear of his left Achilles tendon Monday night. Per sources, he is done for the season. Adam Schefter also says an MRI confirmed today that Aaron Rodgers officially tore his Achilles on the fourth play of his Jets career. Rodgers' season now officially is over. There already are questions about whether the Hall of Famer's career is too. Man. Oh, and I see O'Leary posting the photo of Josh Allen throwing the ball at the 4 when the line of scrimmage was like beyond the 5. Nick Faria, MRI confirmed Achilles tear for Rodgers. Season over. Will take a year to recover. Ah, man. Blitz Crew. Does Aaron retire after this? I think it's squarely in the conversation. When you saw the way he looked riding on the cart off the field and the picture that we saw of him and like even the video as he kind of went by, no facial reaction, just FDNY hat down, just kind of solemn. I don't know. I get the feeling it could be retirement. If that's the case, I mean, he's got a lot of money coming to him next year, and it's not on his plant foot. So I got to hope maybe he won't retire. But man, at 40 years old, coming back from an Achilles is fucking brutal. Gohan Angered says, I'm sure JD is looking into options already. Yeah. Random Chinese spy balloon says, I was there last night. What a wave of emotions. Only words being spoken in the bathrooms were, well, same old Jets. Yeah, it was kind of like a misery loves company kind of situation. KY Jets fan says, God, the irony. I was in my parking lot at work watching you when 8 said he intended to play for the Jets. Now I'm watching you when you say he's done for the year. Dude, well, I'm glad you're tuning in. And I was so excited. That Pat McAfee show was one of the most special days of my Jet fanhood because I was like, wow, we're getting the quarterback. Like, this is it. Like, finally going to cover a winning season. And, yeah, now we got to go through this. What's up, Alex? One of my favorite Giant fans says, us New York fans deserve so much better. Yeah, you guys got shellacked on Sunday Night Football. I'd rather take a 40-0 whipping and have my quarterback, though. Brian comes in. Brian says, do shrooms accelerate healing? I don't know, but I would pump Aaron Rodgers full of as many drugs and everything. Stem cells. Fucking get him. What's the strongest Achilles in the natural animal kingdom? What's the best Achilles you could find? Let's get him 3. Let's put him on his leg. Make it happen. Amazing things happen. Phil comes in with super chat. Phil says, being a lifer Jets fan, I'm like boxer punch drunk. I'm immune to this, but super sad day. Get Brady. No joke, Ryan. Wear number 12 to break the curse. Brady Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers Super Bowl. Could you imagine if Brady winds up wearing a Jets uniform? I mean, he's definitely the best quarterback that could come in here. That would be fucking nuts. I don't want to sell my soul for that though. I would have a very hard time rooting for Tom Brady, but I just want to ring in the worst way. Maybe there is a situation where this guy does root for Tom. I would love to see him kind of put the screws to Belichick. Imagine he comes back his first, Jets lose to the Cowboys this week, and then they're like, all right, let's call Brady up. Let's see what's going on. It's like, yo, you want to come back and face Bill this week? You're making me think. I don't love it. I don't want to have to think like this. Blitz Crew comes in and says, I am guessing retirement and they will cut a coaching deal with hoping he can recapture some of that cap money. Yeah, I think there's going to be, you might have to have some type of deal where he does retire and he gets some part equity in the Jets because there is an enormous dead cap hit. Or hey, you got a coaching contract. We'll pay you $50 million to be a coach for the year. We need you to retire, dude. It's shit. That sucks. That really sucks. Trey Yoder comes in and says, time for some positives. We still have a way better team than last year. We're still 1-0. Get Rodgers a headset and have him in Zach's ear, please. That's where I want him. I wanted Aaron Rodgers to be our quarterback coach in 5 years or in 4 years when Zach was ever going to take over the reins or whatever quarterback was going to take over the reins. Now it just starts a little bit earlier. Hopefully there's a chance for some magic here. Ronaldo drops it with his first super chat. Thank you, Ronaldo. Much appreciated. He says, time to go get Fitzmagic. I do not want to see Fitzmagic under center here. Get me anyone else. I can't see Fitz. Is Fitz never made it to the playoffs? Is that true? Is that what wound up happening? I want playoffs. Give me Zach. Give me, I guess, Carson. I don't know. Alex W. says, probably a pig tendon or a cadaver. Yeah. Got to get that Achilles. Edward Ziff comes in and says, weave carbon fiber into his Achilles. I want a bionic man at this point. I want Aaron Rodgers to be, titanium ligaments. I don't know how you can make stretchy titanium, but figure out a damn way to do it. Wyatt says, man, this sucks. Zach will be fine. Need support. Dude, I'm in Zach's corner. I am. I was ride or die Zach as quarterback too. Now, this was not the way I envisioned him getting on the field at all. But hey, let's fucking back Zach. We got a new offensive coordinator. We got a bunch of new weapons, healthy offensive line. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to gel. But you took this guy at number 2 overall. Zach, you want to be endeared by fans? You want people to just be over the moon about this? Fucking win us some games, dude. Get us to the promised land. Get us to the playoffs. Brian says, Darnold homecoming. I do like Darnold a lot, and there is part of me that would love to see it happen, but I don't think that's realistic. I think once you traded him away, he's good as gone. Even Keel says, Fitz is dead to me after last night, rooting for the Bills on 9/11 and Rodgers going down. F that guy. Yeah, no, I'm kind of over Fitz. I didn't get to see what he said on the broadcast. I heard some people say that Fitz had some things to say, and if that's the case, fuck this guy. Sorry, I don't. Stay retired, dude. We can find someone else to throw interceptions. Joel C. says Jameis Winston. I don't know. I don't like Jameis Winston either. I mean, and every quarterback you're going to try and get right now is going to have warts on it. Jameis Winston, don't love the attitude. Gardner Minshew, clearly a backup right now. Carson Wentz, character concerns or locker room concerns maybe. Trading for someone, you're giving up assets. Not to mention these players have not played in training camp with the Jets. William Justice says Jacoby Brissett. I really like Jacoby Brissett against the Jets last year. I believe was his last game. He won his last game, I think, because I remember them cheering for him, and it was like the last game we'd see him before Watson came back. I've always liked Jacoby Brissett. I feel like he's a pro's pro, and if he could give you baseline quarterback play, maybe that's enough. What would the Jets do realistically, in your opinion? I think they're going to roll with Zach, and I think they're going to look for a backup. Steve is real says signing Brady would piss off Rodgers. Brady winning the Super Bowl instead of Rodgers would say, F this, I'm out of here. Yeah, I don't know. That would suck, but I don't think Rodgers and like Brady are on bad terms. I don't know. I feel like you have to sit down with Rodgers before you make that type of move. You're like, hey, look, Rodgers is our guy moving forward. But like we need someone now. And like you're available. So what are we gonna do? Man. Blitz Crew. Brady joining the week after he was put in the Pats Ring of Honor would be amazing. Who is selling their soul to balance the scales with Broadway? Damn. Yeah, that would be wild, right? Like goes into the Ring of Honor with New England and then signs with the Jets less than a week later. I don't know. I'd have a hard time wrapping my head around Brady in a Jet uniform. I don't think I want to see it. Lanzatis comes in, says, as a Cowboys fan, Jets fans have my sympathy. We've been there when Dak went down in 2020, and we lost 2 players this preseason to ACL tears. Dude, Cowboys fans and Jet fans have always kind of been walking a similar path, in the sense that like we're both sort of underperforming based on expectations on things. And I've always loved like Tony Romo and even Dak. Like I would have paid Dak instead of trading or drafting Zach Wilson. If you guys didn't sign Dak, I would have given him all the money. I like Dak a lot. I don't know if he's going to ultimately be like the guy. I mean, he is the guy right now, but I don't know if he's going to be like the guy to win you a ring. I feel like your team was so good last year, and like to see it fizzle, I don't know how much juice he could possibly have, especially when the team I feel like is losing a little bit of talent over there. But hell, it's gonna be an interesting game. I mean, you guys got a hell of a defense. Micah Parsons scares the living shit out of me. That defense is no joke. Jets gotta run the ball, keep the ball out of your offense's hands. Blitzcrew said, during this stream, my Jets Talk mug was delivered. Well, I'm glad it got to you. And I apologize that it took an extra week. You could sip your whatever shooter of choice mixed with your coffee that you're having right now in your morning coffee. You can mix that in that mug, and you can drink the Hear No Evil, See No Evil, Speak No Evil, even though there's a whole lot of evil going on right now. Boogie Down Dave says, Cam Newton is still out there and he's not washed. He is washed. What are you talking about? Come on, Boogie Down. Get out of here. Eddie McGuire says, McAfee just said, knowing Rodgers, he may take it as a sign that it's a career over. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, 40 years old, getting an Achilles, that's it, in my opinion. I would be very surprised if he came back next year. I hope it happens, but I would be very surprised. Ryan G says, getting our first rounder back for trades is huge. Use it for Stafford. I guess I'd consider it. I think I'd rather watch Stafford than Brady, to be honest. And if Rodgers says, hey, look, I'm hanging it up like right now. If he knows it, Figure out what you can do to alleviate those cap hits as best you can, and then just figure it out. Stafford's contract this year, if traded, is only $1.5 million, so it's really not bad. And it's $31 million next year. Be like, yo, we'll give you a first-round pick. We'll give you edge rusher of choice to an extent, and we'll take Cooper Kupp and Stafford. We'll get the wide receiver and the quarterback all in one shot. Or just straight up first-round pick for a quarterback. Stafford's injuries scare me. TMB Inc. Zach, third year. Look at what's going on in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, third year. Zach is not progressing. Yeah, I mean, they're totally different tiers of quarterback, too. Trevor Lawrence was like a generational prospect. Zach was a very exciting prospect, but not looked at in the same vein. That tackle by Braden Mann still crushes me. Twisted says, crazy the Jets didn't go out and get Rodgers and pay him all that money because Zach's the guy. Chances are if they go with Zach, we lose him also. He isn't ready. That's an interesting way to look at that. Momo says Cooper Rush is a good idea. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so torn because I don't trust any of these guys as like a quarterback. You just need I just want an average quarterback. UK Jets fan says, I'm hopeful that Zach will be okay. Aaron is around, and with Hack, you never know. You gotta hope, right? New offensive coordinator, a few new weapons. Zach another year under his belt. Learning with Aaron Rodgers there. Maybe there is enough. NY Sports Wicker Media. This franchise should be dumped in the Hudson River. Oh, geez. Feels like it, right? Dennis says, what about Trey Lance? What about Trey Lance? He was just traded for a 4th-round pick. We're not bringing in Trey Lance to compete with Zach Wilson. It's not happening. Juan says, I bought a flight from Chile to see a game on Black Friday because it was Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of fans that are pissed off. I mean, heck, I know Richie's got his group buy for the Patriot game. He's got like a ton of people going to that. Got to be super bummed. I know me, O'Leary, and Green Bean got our group buy for the Charger game. Still going to be fun. I mean, nice thing is it's right after the trade deadline, so maybe there's an off shot that like we're seeing a different quarterback or like elevated play or a new player out on the field or something. But yeah, this sucks. There's going to be a lot of people that are flying from all over the country this season, and you are flying from all over the world to see Aaron Rodgers, and that's a gut punch. I'm sorry. Keith comes in and says, what about TB12? Full circle, smash the Pats. There's like a little part of me that would find that comically enjoyable, but I would need Rodgers to actually retire first. I don't know if you can bring in Brady with Rodgers here. I think that kind of sends some mixed messages. Wyatt says, I'd take Zach over Justin Fields, though. I don't know. I mean, like, Justin Fields at least is trending in the right direction. Zach, maybe. I don't know. I don't really like both quarterbacks. Not great. Keith is asking, did he tear his right or left Achilles? It's his left Achilles tendon. It was not his plant foot. Vinny Wolf says, it's amazing we have to think about Zach like this in year 3. I mean, we're going to know, right, at the end of the season if we're going to exercise his 5th-year option. So getting him as many reps as possible. I don't know. Prime Evil says, listening to Buffalo fans crap all over Josh Make an offer to them. LOL. In all seriousness, I like the idea of Gardner Minshew. I do like Gardner Minshew. I feel like that's like a player guys can rally behind, but I don't know if you do it while Zach is still like there. He might be a trade deadline kind of guy. Kevin Hobson says Rodgers will be back. Bet on it. Dude, I hope so. I hope he's like more fired up than ever and he's not going to plant on his, his torn Achilles leg. So he should be able to be fine. That's just a tough as hell injury to come back from. Isaac. For what it's worth, Zach seemed to do better after Garrett Wilson came up to him on the bench. If Rodgers mentors him on the sidelines, we might be okay. I'm putting my stock in Zach Wilson. I almost wore my Wall Street Wilson shirt. I didn't have it on. I was like, I'm just gonna represent the shield today. Or the logo. I'm in Zach's corner. I wanted us to draft Zach at 2. Let's show the world what you got coming, Zach. You got it. Christopher says, so my thought process is Rodgers is a pocket passer. I think with how our O-line played, it would have been scary to watch him in the pocket for the other games. Zach needs to step it up and play good. He does. Those asking about Trey Lance, he isn't ready. Mike McCarthy is having to teach him basics, including footwork. Yeah, I wouldn't want Trey Lance anyway. Kyle says Kirk Cousins or Kyler. I would prefer Kirk over Kyler. Kyler's a lot younger, but I don't like Kyler's mentality. I feel like if you have to put in the study clause into a contract of that value, he's not worth the contract. And with Cousins, he's always been like intrinsically motivated internally, like you got this, like this guy's. I know he kind of shunned the Jets initially, but that was under McCagnon, that was under Bowles. He might be a little more receptive coming to the Jets now. And I would definitely give up a 1 for him. I would give up a 1 for Cousins. I think he can win you a Super Bowl. Candle Jack. How about giving Zach the Justin Fields playbook? Yeah, keep him on the ground. Run the ball. You don't have to see a ton of throws from Zach. I want to see a lot of RPOs from Zach, honestly. Let him use his athleticism to make plays happen, whether that's extending plays, whether that's, just running with the ball. Like, let's have a day. Set him up to win. He's better when he can react and not think. Blitz Crew was so excited not thinking about the draft for months. Yeah, it was really nice to not have to consider mock drafts this early in the season, and now we're immediately turning to mock drafts. Like, literally, as soon as he went down, everyone around me in the stadium was like, so Caleb Williams, right? And I'm like, well, no, the Jets are so good. We're going to be out of that. And I don't even want to think about the draft. I don't want to know who the top players are right now. I want to get to the playoffs. I don't care how it happens. I don't want a top 10 pick. I don't want it to happen. Cheddarhead says, we give you Aaron Rodgers, and it took 4 plays to end his career. You guys got an 80-year-old washed-up left tackle protecting him. Poverty franchise. Well, it's not for a lack of trying. Joe Douglas has pumped in a ton of money into the offensive line since he got here for the last 5 years, and for whatever reason, it's just not working. Our left guard, Laken Tomlinson, who was an all-pro or Pro Bowl player before we got him, came in and played like the worst guard in football last year, and I don't think he looked great yesterday, but I honestly have not rewatched the tape, so I can't speak too crazy about that. Dwayne Brown blocking for him. I mean, really, it's Rodgers' fault that he got hurt because he decided to hold on to the ball longer than he should have. He should have got it out. He knew that there was going to be pressure coming off that side. He's smart enough to know it. I mean, he rolled out thinking he could get away and uses his athleticism. He's just not the same young spring chicken he once was. And that combined with the turf, combined with, his age and everything like that, it all went downhill. But yeah, I'm not real happy. Not real happy. JR saying, why do the football gods hate us? What did we do to them? I don't know. We must have pissed in someone's Cheerios because this is like, you can't write this. Like, you go through the Jets' history, there's just so many things that are like, oh, are you serious? Like that, the butt fumble, the fake spike, Vinny popping his Achilles in the first game, Rodgers popping his Achilles in the first game. Darnold seeing ghosts isn't that crazy, I guess, but like it just feels like we're a punching bag. Gohan says, I don't understand why people have copium about Zach. The dude doesn't have it between his ears. It doesn't matter how much talent you have. If you can't read a defense, you're not going to succeed. I would like to see Zach regardless. Lots of other teams had him as a top 5 prospect. Sometimes it just takes some time. Sometimes it takes Hall of Fame quarterback in your ear, in your corner to recognize it. So I'm taking a bunch of copium because that's who we got. Zach's our guy. You heard Salah say it. We're rolling with Zach. We're going to roll with Zach until another option becomes available. Feel like Zach can't do it. But if Zach can do it, or if they think he can do it, they're going to roll with him. I agree with Nolan here. He says, we need one read RPOs with bullets on the slants to Garrett Wilson and bootlegs from under center. Yeah, I would like to see Zach kind of narrow down half the field. I want to see quick releases. I want to see fast, like do not hold on to the ball. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, balls out, whether that's out of bounds, at a receiver's feet, or to a receiver, or tight end, or running back. Or you got to run. It's got to be fast. Jesse says all signs and synchronicity are pointing on Rodgers retiring. The Achilles rehab is stupid hard, especially for an older player. Yeah, the only thing we have is like it wasn't his plant leg, so maybe there's a shot he doesn't retire, but like my gut feeling was like this is a career ender. With Dwayne Brown on the line, this team would need a mobile quarterback like Kyler. Yeah, and look, Arizona's selling. So, like, if you want to trade Zach Wilson for Kyler or something like that, or I don't even know what you'd have to give up. Like, what is Kyler worth? Is he worth 2 ones? Is that what you're willing to pay for Kyler Murray? I don't like paying a quarterback and trading for a quarterback that needs to be told to study. He's someone I would rather see go elsewhere. But he's also young and accurate, and we should... It's so frustrating. I don't know. I don't know what I want. Oreo says, so what's the game plan going forward? Feed Brees and Cook. Both get 20 touches a game. We have a top 3 defense. Maybe we trade our first for an elite offensive tackle or elite wide receiver. Load up this offense and more. I would not trade the first round pick. That is off the table unless you're getting someone like a Stafford. I wouldn't move it for an offensive lineman. I wouldn't move it for a wide receiver. Like, I'm not going after Mike Evans or any of those type of guys. Now, at this point, I'm in resource saving mode outside of quarterback. So the only thing you can get me to trade for potentially would be a quarterback at this point. True One says, been a Jets fan for over 25 years. The Jets always suffer something like this. It happens. It always happens when the Jets appear to be ready to win big. This just a hard one to see happen. Completely agree. Got a lot of people saying Name sold his soul for the win. Won't be lifted till his unfortunate passing. Oh, God, I don't want to buy into this. Like, it's hard not to be superstitious, but man, I don't want to buy into that. Say Valeng View says, man, imagine if A-Rod didn't get hurt, the Bills game wouldn't even be close. The fact that the Jets wound up winning 22-16 and you're playing with a backup quarterback and like couldn't move the ball, like Aaron Rodgers would have scored at least another touchdown. So I guess you'll go to OT. Maybe it's... I don't think it's as close as it is if Rodgers is in there. Nick Hall asking, what is Phillip Rivers up to? hopefully not answering his phone for the New York Jets. Obi Clutch says Kyler has an $80 million dead cap hit. Kyler has an interesting contract, and I don't think it's realistically tradable until after the season. But let's see. I know his contract is written in such a way that if you have him under contract for the beginning of March, his next year's salary is fully guaranteed. So he's guaranteed like 2 years of salary for every time he's on the roster. So it's always going to be kind of wacky. Let's see. If moved, he would... Yeah, I mean, it's an enormous dead cap hit. I don't think it's a realistic option for Kyler to get traded until after the offseason. But who knows? Maybe the salary cap is fake. It's there just to make you think. Yeah, RA says, don't give up the first. We just got it back from Aaron's injury. You can't give up the first. The Jets, there's a chance the Jets could be a very, very high pick. You got to hold on to that now. Hi, Lost Boys, says Sam Darnold. I'd love to see me some Sam Darnold. Kyler said, Season says Kyler can't read a playbook. That's why they got rid of the coach. C-Mad says Jets would have made the playoffs last year if Brees and AVT stayed healthy. Brees looked great last night. Let's rally behind Zach and root for the kid. I'm pulling for him. I want Zach to be the guy. Christopher asking, should AVT move out to offensive tackle and shift Brown or Becton inside? No, I think you probably keep him. I mean, Brown is 100 years old. I don't know how you move him at this point. And Becton, I thought did fine on right tackle. I'd have to go back and watch though. It's hard to diagnose stuff when you're like actually at the game. AJ Spaz says can't stand Kyler. Rivers or Minshew are my only options. Malik Willis, because he's my college bro. Oh, that's kind of cool. I don't really want Malik Willis. Rivers, I feel like is cooked. Minshew, I feel like is someone that has enough gas in the tank that could be a fun thing to go out and do. So of those options, I like Minshew. Kyler's the best quarterback of the bunch, though. I would add Carson Wentz in there. I think Carson Wentz should be an option. Earl says it sucks. I just bought an Aaron Rodgers jersey, dude. So did I. I got the gray one in the closet. Kevin comes in and says, Rodgers isn't going out like that. He's back in 24. Dude, I hope he's not, like, just done. I don't want to see him just hang it up. This team's too damn good. But then how do you try to go for a Super Bowl this year without Rodgers, like, under center? Is he cool with the Brady signing? Is it trading for a quarterback? Or is it just like, hey, we're ride or die Zach? Oh, man, I'm friggin' shot. I'm tired. I didn't get any sleep last night. ARJ says, no Kyler. I'd much rather Kirk. Kyler has too many question marks regarding his mental makeup. Yeah, I think Kirk's the guy I would want if he would be willing to come here. But again, he's one of those players that never gets hurt. Aaron Rodgers is a player that doesn't get hurt. Fucking hurt. Jets Mania says quarterback in the first round. I think you strongly consider it. I think it has to enter the conversation, especially if you're not going to exercise Zach's option. I don't think you draft a quarterback and keep Zach on the roster, though. I think you'd have to trade him. Brandon says, dude, Rodgers gets surgery, comes to coach on the sidelines, and if he's in Zach's ear, running the offense through Zach, I think we can win a lot of games. Win by the skin of our teeth, but we'll win. Jay says, how do you think the NFL brass feel we have 7 primetime games this year with Zach? Oh, I'm sure they're not real happy about it. But guess what? You want to fucking stop injuries, change all your turf fields to grass. Oh, it's going to cost more in maintenance because we got to mow it. Or it's not going to look perfect all the time. Or you're not going to be able to see the pellets when they drag their feet. I don't care. You can't lose the best quarterbacks in the league. Saint says, been a Jets fan since 93. It always happens. Testaverde, Pennington, Favre, and now Rodgers. But on the plus side, Brees should be called Beast Hall. We got AVT Becton is okay, and our defense is solid. Yeah, dude. I actually I bought 2 boxes of Brees Hall's cereal. I didn't realize it. Like I was real late, middle of the night. I'm like scrolling through Instagram. I was like, product placement. Thanks. Add to the cart. It's like $35 for 2 boxes of cereal. Goes to a good cause. And I like supporting Brees, so I'm about it. Momo says, try to trade for Rush or Brissett. Dude, I can't imagine that Cowboys game as we speak. Dude, I don't know how this week's going to go. I'm nervous. Michael says, man, I'm tired. Got up at 2 a.m. to watch the game. Went to work directly after. I'm emotionally exhausted. Dude, I'm like shot too. I don't know if I've been on this kind of roller coaster. I was on the roller coaster with like Rodgers initially when I was like, is he going to retire? Is he coming back? Is he coming to the Jets? Is he going somewhere else? Is he going to say, hey, screw the Jets? And then we got him. And that was the roller coaster initially. Now this whole saga is an entire roller coaster. I hope Rodgers doesn't retire. I really hope he doesn't retire. Austin Powers says, Jameis, Minshew, Brissett, Stafford. Yeah, Stafford's the best quarterback of the bunch. I don't know if they're going to look to move him, though. Go on says, Achilles is a year-long injury recovery, especially a guy like Carl Lawson. It took him 2 years with the burst. Now, the nice thing is Rodgers didn't hurt his plant leg, and he's also not like a burst-type player, so I don't know how much the Achilles outside of like, okay, you can't walk right now, is going to affect him next year. He might be all right. Nando says, Jameis Winston wants to be a starter. He may throw interceptions, but still can throw for yardage. Call New Orleans. Gary Jets Forever comes with a super chat. Says, no one's talking about the fact he'll probably hang it up after this year. Aaron. I mean, everyone's talking about that. It's not a no one's talking about it. It should be everyone's talking about the fact that he'll probably hang it up after this. Oh, Ryan. Ryan flew in for the game. I feel like this with Rodgers gave me blue balls. Dude, tell me about it. Sorry I didn't get to see it. But yeah, dude, friggin' just sucks. I hope he doesn't hang it up. Fernando, thank you for the super chat. Says, watch them bring back Flacco. Don't you put that evil on me, Fernando. No. I don't want to see it. Jesse says, I don't think Rodgers will be on the sidelines. I'm sure he will have his own people out west working with his injury. Yeah, or he'll fly his people out west to the East Coast. I think he's going to be on the sideline. I think. I hope he's in Zach's ear. Wentz, Ryan, Mariota. Who do the Jets go after? I feel like it's got to be Wentz. He's at least got some upside. Has probably a little appreciation for having, not being on a roster. Jesse says, I don't think Rodgers will be on. Oh, sorry. I heard you read that one. Albert says, believe me when I tell you Aaron will be there to mentor Wilson. As a Packer fan, I've seen him do it many times in the past when he's gone down. Yeah, I want him in a headset. I want him to be a de facto coach. Lunzatis says, as someone who is a Cowboys fan and watches the Cowboys, Cooper Rush is not that good. The majority of those games won last year was from points from the defense and special teams, not the offense. So no Cooper Rush, according to Pale Moon. Brian, how about Eli Manning? Oh, man, I don't want to see Eli Manning under center. He's a statue. He's not moving anywhere. ARJL says, I was in London on vacation when this all went down, and could not believe what I was seeing. 4 plays. Are you kidding me? I wish I had woken up and this was a bad dream. JW says, last night's game was brutal, and yet here we are, number 1 in the division with a tiebreaker, and we are tied for first in the AFC 1 seed race. After 1 week, tied for best record. Dustin says he bought a $2.8 million home in New York. He will be there. He bought a $10 million home, I think, or 8.5. It was a really, really big one. The Rams would be smart to sell high on Stafford. He's a walking injury waiting to happen. First rounder for a salary dump candidate. That could be a steal. So let me pull up his contract real quick to see what it would impact or how it would impact the Rams. So he would be an enormous cap hit. Holy hell. I don't know if you can trade him. Trade post June 1st isn't terrible. It's like a $20 million hit. So if they're willing to get the 100 or like the guaranteed 1 seed, or no, sorry, not 1 seed, the guaranteed first round pick from the Jets, maybe Stafford is the guy you could go for. That's just a lot of salary. But for the team that's trading for him, it'd be $1.5 million this year, $31 million next year. So really, really not bad. Zachary Hill says, Bakhtiari is blaming the turf, which is part of the issue, perhaps, but how much is the offensive line to blame in all of this? All the shiny offensive weapons, but O-line isn't good. Look, this play was designed to get the ball out really fast, and for whatever reason, Rodgers felt compelled to hold on to it and try to work a spin move out of it. He should have known, based on how the line was holding and this play, get the ball out quick. And for whatever reason, he didn't do it. It sucks. Oh, I said Eddie. Watch him bring back Flacco. Michael Miller says, I'm not even a Jets fan, but dang, I feel bad for y'all after losing Rodgers. Dude, it sucks. It looks like in our poll question, we have almost 1,600 votes. 21% say angry, 31% say vomit, 31% say crying, 17% say indifferent. Mo comes in with super chat. Thank you, Mo. Says, seriously, we need to Just get Jameis Winston and worst case scenario, Carson Wentz. I mean, I don't really want to trade for someone. That's why I think the Wentz thing is kind of intriguing. Unless a team is willing to part with a quarterback better than that for less than that. JW says, come on, Ryan. I was at the Chad got hurt game too. And remember, Vinny, we kind of knew this would happen. What we do from here is what matters. I almost threw up last night, but F it. We'll figure it out. I was spitting nails. I was just yelling. Not happy. TMB Inc. says, I forgot this was the trade. Jets number 15 and 170, which is a 5th or 6th. I guess the Packers get number 13, 42, 207. Packers also get 2024 second. That turns into a second. Turns into a first if Rodgers plays 65% of snaps. Yep. Yeah, that's the trade. Gohan saying, yeah, Washington can't pick quarterbacks either. Yeah, it's not easy. If it was easy, these guys wouldn't be getting paid a ton of money, meaning like the GMs and stuff. All right. We've been going for 2 hours and 11 minutes. I think that's about as much of streaming as I feel like I want to do right now. So, boys, girls, if you're in here, hit the like button if you want to have some hope. Hit the like button if you're pissed off like me and we just lost our quarterback for the year, possibly his career. Hit the like button to show your displeasure in the football gods. Or just hit the like button because you enjoy, well, the commentary, not so much the content for today, I guess. But guys, it's been a lot of fun up to this point. I still have faith. I think Zach Wilson can turn it around. I'm going to hold my breath. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets. A-E-T-S, Jets!